there, B-Siders. Welcome to another episode of Bravo for the B-Side. This is Danny.
And this is Jim.
And we've got a little bit of a different situation going on this week.
Yeah, it's it's going to be kind of the same format, but it's a different, it's the first time we're dealing with this topic.
Yeah.
And so it's a topic, not a film.
Right.
So, but we're talking about it, and we'll talk about how we came to this.
Mm-hmm.
But figured, after all these years, we've mentioned this, but we've not gone into it. And I think it's time to go into it because it's a pretty important thing for independent filmmaking.
It is.
To cover. So that's what we're going to do.
It is. But first, the news.
Yes.
We watched the movie Seven with our daughter.
Yes. She loved it.
She did.
We had some time after a very busy day,
mm-hmm.
and it came down to we're going to do a movie night. So the usual thing of trying to pick a movie. So finally we're like, okay, so what's the vibe?
What vibes are you looking for?
What are you looking for? And she's like, well, something along the lines of Silence of the Lambs.
Right.
Right. And then you brought up Seven.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because you had mentioned to me beforehand about, maybe I'm like, oh, there's nothing in there she's going to get,
right.
Torn up over. She does not like slasher movies.
No, she doesn't like straight horror.
Yeah, gore fest, just in your face stuff. I mean, that's our jam, but
right.
And that's fine. But she loves Silence of the Lambs.
Mm-hmm.
She loves just the flow of it. She loves Anthony Hopkins and his portrayal of Hannibal Lecter.
And she's fascinated by like true crime documentaries and by sort of like criminal thriller type.
Yeah, she wants to become a criminal psychologist.
Yeah.
She really is interested in what goes on.
Yeah.
What makes them the way they are? What makes their brains so different?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of work in the field that's been going on forever, and we are no closer to fully understanding how two people can go through an exact life together,
mm-hmm.
right? Same ups and downs, abuses, everything. One of them becomes a serial killer, and the other one, becomes like a zookeeper. I mean,
right.
That kind of thing. So it just really fascinates her. So anyway, we brought it up to her, showed her the trailer, and she's like, I'm in. It doesn't hurt that she loves Brad Pitt.
Right.
And Morgan Freeman.
Mm-hmm.
So it was already like a sealed deal, but she loved the content. And at the end, we're like,
what'd you think?
What'd you think? And her exact words, she looked at us, what the fuck? It was unlike anything she'd seen.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's true for most people who see Seven
right.
for the first time. There's not a lot of films like it. It's in that vibey area of Silence of the Lambs.
Right. But we did make it clear to her they're completely different movies.
Yeah. I said, so you just need to understand there's Silence of the Lambs, which is its thing, and there's nothing wrong with it. But this is a completely different thing, same kind of vibe, but very different. And she's like, this movie makes Silence of the Lambs look like Dora the Explorer.
Yeah.
But she was really into it. So it was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And, we talked a little bit about with her, which is always fun when she, gets into these conversations with us.
Oh yeah.
One of the things that makes it really appealing to us is the fact that John Doe does not have this labored history. We don't
know anything about John Doe except for what's in the film, and that none of it is his backstory.
Right. We know what they know.
Yeah.
And then they leave it at that. Right. And then he has his bit, Kevin Spacey has his bit at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of railing it out, which is actually just kind of like fucking nonsense. It's just this guy is absolutely just straight on batshit crazy.
He's just insane. Right.
And that is what made it what it was.
Right.
It just made the whole thing. There were no answers. So anyway, good time. We had a good movie night.
Right.
She enjoyed it, and we'll watch it over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many times I've seen it.
I've seen it a bunch of times.
And it's weird because she likes Silence of the Lambs as a comfort film.
Right.
And Seven is in our list of like comfort films,
Yeah, like it sounds weird, but I go to American Psycho.
Yeah.
Right?
That's your big one.
Yeah.
Mine is Local Hero, and it doesn't have
A
anything to
lot
do
less sinister.
Well, but it's not like horror versus non-horror. It's just that movie above all else rings to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
But then there's Lost in Translation. There's The Station Agent.
I love Pride and Prejudice.
There's Dark Star.
Yeah.
Right? For all its failings,
Mm-hmm.
And like Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, but they're more like familiar movies.
Sure.
Which, as much as I love Star Wars, it isn't actually a comfort movie.
No.
That's when I'm like, I just want to watch something and okay, that's it. But I'm just like, I just need to veg and kick back. I go to that list, and it's usually Local Hero or The Tall Guy.
Yeah.
Recently because you couldn't find it anywhere.
Right.
So it's kind of like a new addition to the comfort films, but there it is.
Yeah. I kind of go between a bunch of different, genres. I like the 2007 Pride and Prejudice.
Right.
American Psycho, obviously, Fear and Loathing.
Fear and Loathing is sort of a fun kickback for me. I wouldn't call it comfort for me.
Sure.
I know it is for you. Alien.
Oh, yeah.
The first Alien. That is on my comfort list. I love it. Everything about it.
Yeah.
And it just makes you bleed everything away.
Yeah.
And that's what they're for. But also 7 is a fun as fuck film to watch because no matter how many times I see it, it still hits.
Yeah.
Right? I know what's coming, but each time it's like, oh.
We did tell her this movie hits a little different if you've seen it before, like on a second and, and subsequent watches, you see more things.
She wants to watch it again, but she needs some time.
Yeah.
Before diving back in. And that's cool. I get it. I've done that, Oh, let's see. On less happy news, we lost Terrence Stamp. Those old timers like myself will know him. The first time I saw him on screen was in 1978 Superman. He played General Zod. And it was just in the beginning. He didn't share the screen with Christopher Reeve at all. It was with Marlon Brando and Zod, Ursa, and their mute friend, Non, were being sentenced to the Phantom Zone. And then, of course, Superman 2, it was all about Zod. And just undeniably an unforgettable supervillain portrayal. He just has that. He has innumerable. I thought of making a list of movies, and people go out and find him because he has played in a lot of gangster movies.
Yes.
A lot of tough guy movies. He has done a lot of stage. So, do a little tribute to Terrence Stamp and go find him on IMDb and just go through his list of stuff. Every single thing he has ever done is great.
Yeah. I just pulled up a list of his movies and I'm like, oh, yep. That one. Goodness.
One thing I do want to mention that I saw has made the headlines. Now, I don't know if it's the headlines, but it's made its way through social media. Some video of Willem Dafoe in a like black sleeveless evening gown and like green slippers, and he's dancing about, I think at home or something.
Okay.
And but people are losing their minds.
Why?
Because it's inappropriate. It's this and that.
It's Willem Dafoe.
Well, some people are like that too. And I'm like, yeah, it's Willem Dafoe, but I don't say it like, oh, it's just Willem Dafoe. I say it as it's Willem Dafoe, as if it were John Smith or, Katie Albright or whoever, whatever the name is. Who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
Right? I thought we were past that, but current times have been proving to me how fucking naive I've been for like the last decade and a half, right? About progress in America. Again, I'll just say this, much as we say if you agree with what's going on in the world, particularly here, go away. We're not for you and you're not for us. And if you're one of those folks who are like, oh, just upset by a man wearing an evening gown, doing whatever the fuck he's doing for whatever reason.
Right.
Right. With no need for accountability. If that bothers you, hit stop and go find another podcast and just don't come around.
Yeah.
Because we don't need you. And quite frankly, we just don't fucking want you. It's come to that. We're ready to pare this down to like a single listener if we have to. But I know there's more people with sensibility than that in the world. More than one.
Well, see, I remember when Tom Holland did that Umbrella video. I mean, no one batted an eyelash. Everyone, yes.
Yeah. It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me, And I don't know Willem Dafoe, and I haven't seen anything come out. And if he's, on the wrong side of the fence, well, then like all the rest of the people who we've come across in our lives, disappointingly, we'll just be like, okay, well, toodles.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get bent out of shape over it. I'm not going to stop rewatching Platoon, right? Or anything that he's in.
Yeah. I mean, well,
Budapest.
Kevin Spacey isn't a great person. I don't know what his political views are. It doesn't matter. But he isn't a good person. And we just watched a movie with him in it.
Well, I mean, yeah. And, I don't want to get into it.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into it. Anyway, look up Terrence Stamp. Watch his movies and just rejoice. It's another man who has given us a lifetime of his talent, and you have to appreciate that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about if we ever sold a script and got our series going and, got an Emmy, for it, and we got a best writing Emmy and we got to give a speech. I mean, the very first thing would be to just thank everybody in the industry, new and old, for providing us with a lifetime of their talents. And not just actors, but everybody who made this visual thing come to life. Because, we've said it before, film is one of those things that has healed so many people in so many dark times.
Yeah.
Right? 9/11, no crowds anywhere, no nothing.
Yeah.
Right? And then when the sports fans, when the sports games opened back up, they hit that shit hard. And it was I'm not a sports fan, but there isn't a single thing that went on the first games in those particular stadiums when that happened that wasn't touching.
Right.
Right? It's the same thing with movie theaters. Movie theaters were packed, like oversold, because people need that. Need to become together and share something.
And experience.
Yeah. And whether it's a drama or a comedy or a horror or something, good movie, bad movie, throughout history, we have flocked in those darker times, either, nationally or personally.
Yeah.
To just be with something else around other people. And, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome to have had that.
Well, and film itself can challenge your whole life view, your prejudices, societal things. It's actually, this is a good segue into what we're talking about today.
Yeah. I have walked out of theaters more than once, thinking. And we have walked out and talked about things because here's the great thing about a movie. It can sneak up on you and show you something you would not have otherwise been able to conceptualize.
Right.
Right? Because they took this thing and put it in a completely different sort of situation and all the construct and everything. But it does. It makes you think. And we've said many times, a great movie or even a good one, good, great in there.
Gets you talking about something.
Gets you talking about stuff.
Yeah.
The movie or the things in it. And that is a huge boon.
Well, you know what kind of movies? Actually, you know what? Let's get this out of the way before we start going into things.
Sure.
If you like our podcast and you want to check out our other stuff, check out our website.
lordsofmisruleproductions.com.
Everything's there.
Everything's there. In particular, links to our Patreons. Either one, if you want to help keep this thing rolling forward, join up, $5 a month. And when we, get to a slightly larger number of people than the single digits, we'll start, doing some benefits for that.
Yes.
Right now, it's you get the episode a week early.
Yeah.
Ish.
So,
yeah.
Films that might challenge your perspective on things, and also educate you about something.
Yeah. Should I tell you what those are called?
I wish you would.
Documentaries. So, folks, we have seen a lot of documentaries. Became apparent when we were making a list of like reference, because different things we want to talk about in comparisons.
Is a big list. And that's not even all of them. It's just ones we can remember in the last, I don't know, 5.
Yeah, they're all pretty recent.
Yeah.
And I kept out, like, I didn't go to like, all the Nova stuff. I have seen so many science and history documentaries that hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds over my life. Those are like my pseudo comfort, is like the nights I can't sleep because of my leg and stuff. Sometimes I'll get up and I'll throw a documentary on and, watch it. And, I like learning.
Right.
And I'll watch documentaries on things I've seen many times, on subjects I've seen many other documentaries on, because there could be a different perspective, newer information, or even an older documentary that has even yet different perspective, know, because again, thinking and talking and thinking, because I just like shoot words at you endlessly.
You do. Yeah. You talk a lot.
When there's one that's like, yeah, this was really great, blah, 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 because that's how I process as well.
Yeah.
Is, speaking to someone about it.
And I listen.
But we wanted to talk about documentaries because we watched one last week, and just to watch. And I'll talk about it in a second. But it's an indie documentary. So
many documentaries are indie documentaries.
Many are. But I do want to make clear there are a couple on our list for recent times that big budgets.
Right.
I mean, this was like a whole, deep dive sort of after the fact, after some sort of sensationalized thing went on, someone did like the documentary on it. So they are on the list, and we'll use them because the things we're going to talk about are the same, kind of like principle of movie making, right? Doesn't matter if you have $50 or $500 million in your budget. The principles are the same.
Yes.
But we were thinking about it, or I was thinking about it, and I really think finally covering documentary making is important, because there is no easier way to break into independent filmmaking.
Right.
And we'll talk about all this. So,
like, there's no lower bar, right? To have to cross. I'm not saying that documentaries are low bar. What I'm saying is, that the production that goes into them does not have to be high value.
Does not have to be. And we're going to talk about how you can make it high value without having the big budget.
Right.
Right. Kind of like any indie film. But yeah, this is, it comes without a lot of restraints.
Yes.
And we got some do's and don'ts. Right. And this applies to everybody, because we've seen some high end stuff that was like, what the hell?
Well, yeah.
Kind of like the movies. Like, what did I just, that was $138 million production budget?
What?
We know a dozen people who could have done better than what we just saw with like 35 grand.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, should we talk about what we saw and why we're...
yeah, let's bring up this particular documentary that kind of triggered this whole thought train that led us here to recording this episode.
I like it.
And then we'll go into our expounded thoughts upon.
Yes. So, as is true with most of the things I find, you were in bed, I was up, and I was doing my late night equivalent to doom scrolling through all of our services. And I was really looking for a documentary.
Right.
I want to see what's out there. And I found this particular one on Prime, and I watched the trailer, and it hooked me. I'm like, oh, I like this. I like the subject. I like what I saw. Looked like it had good quality, right? Like it was,
Yeah.
like they'd been around the block a couple times maybe
Right.
with this kind of thing. So I dove into it. The first episode I thought was really good. And then I brought you in.
Mm-hmm.
And because you're like, oh, I'll watch it.
Oh, yeah.
And
I'm
then
always down for
and then
a
we
cool.
started. So this particular documentary is Hellier. That's the name of it. Hellier, which is the name of this town in Virginia. And it
Would you like me to read the synopsis?
Yeah, read the synopsis for it, please.
Okay, so it is a mini-series doc. A small crew of paranormal researchers find themselves in a dying coal town where a series of strange coincidences leads them to a decades-old mystery with far-reaching implications.
And, that matches pretty much what I saw, in the trailer. So here's the thing. We're going to talk about documentaries as like a straight one shot.
Yeah.
So like a film, or, a documentary series, something that's been branched out into 2 or more episodes. The thing about this is, so before we begin, just to make it clear, I am Fox Mulder. I believe there are things out there, but I believe 99% of what we've been presented is just bogus, right?
Yes.
And, I believe in cryptozoology. I believe in UFOlogy. I believe in spiritual investigations and paranormal events. I
want to believe.
Well, I believe it's there, and I want to believe we will make contact, if you will. We will get there, where it's not supposition and presentation that makes things,
Can I read you the top review of Hellier on IMDb?
Please.
It's very short.
Sure.
Here it is. If you enjoy the word synchronicity, you're in for a treat.
Yes, we'll cover that.
That's the full review.
Okay, cool. And that's fair. Okay. So anyway, I believe in all this stuff. And, having been a priest for 24 years, a lot of biblical mysticism, because my particular order, we believed in the mysticism behind that existed before, Christianity came to wherever, particularly like Ireland, Scotland, in that area. And I've been around, I've seen enough to know that there are things that fall outside of what we would call our normal sensibilities.
Right.
And I'm desperate to see the moment when, boom, right? It's like, the whole thing with, just like with science, I'm a believer in science. I love science, but I also, accept that there was a moment in time where physics was physics. And they were like, this is the be all end all. This is on which everything else is judged, based, and built upon. Right. And in the last couple of decades, it has slowly and then recently more rapidly eroded. That physics in the way that we have come to understand it is incorrect. There are certain elements that we
much like the English language itself.
Kind of, yeah.
Physics rules apply in most situations, but for sure not in all of them. And there are a lot of situations we're coming to know where they don't apply and we have no idea what is going on.
Right. And, it's like, black holes. We're getting to the point where we're like, oh, okay, kind of get it, but nobody, even the folks who've been like, hip deep in this, we don't know. We have theories. The math as present works out, but as we all know, right, some of the math in the past has been disproven because we only know what we know while we know it. And that's a huge limitation, because not knowing what you don't know, how do you even know where to begin to look? But scientists in the last couple generations have, overcome that hurdle of absolutism and have been systematically tearing things down. And now a lot of documentaries are, this is way beyond our comprehension right now. This doesn't make sense. This shouldn't work.
Right.
Right. The formulas and everything say this can't exist, yet here it is in 15 different spectrums.
The whole point of the documentary is like, check out how this is weird.
Yeah. So with all that, right, this whole thing was about what was called the Kentucky Goblins. Did I say Virginia before? It was Kentucky.
It was Kentucky.
Yeah, I keep saying, I don't know, Virginia.
That's because it's a coal mining town, and everyone always thinks Virginia, West Virginia. But
admittedly, I think of the Appalachians and grandfather, and that whole.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah. Anyway, and I remember long time ago seeing things about these goblins, right? And not like an in-depth thing, but okay, yeah. And it just intrigued me. All these years later, this is coming up, and then it reaches back. Should I just summarize this thing in just a couple sentences?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
So Hellier started out really great. You enjoyed the first
really
episode, the first two.
But go with the first 1.5. I think about halfway through the second episode, things started to fall apart.
Started to unravel. It was a harbinger of doom.
Because I remember by the second episode, I was like,
Yeah. So anyway, the first episode really kicked off. It was really well done. It had a lot of the points that we were talking about, we're going to talk about rather, on making a documentary. And unfortunately, it went from, I'm not going to get into the whole thing, like the letter and this and that and the why, but it went from these goblins, which were attached to a story or stories from the 50s, right? That were in the papers in the area. Right. Made the papers. It wasn't just like, oh, Wacky John, bar time story. This was talked about and followed for a while because all these creatures coming out of the old abandoned mine openings.
Right.
Right. And then there was, is it aliens? Is it something else? We went from that sort of rapidly into a Ghost Hunters episode.
Yes.
Where we were trying to contact spirits and things. And we'll talk about the things that went on in this documentary in a lot of the what not to do kind of thing.
Yep.
Right? So we didn't finish it.
We did not.
I think there was one episode left and I couldn't.
I actually think so. There are 2 seasons of it.
Yeah, there's a whole season. Yeah, there's a whole other season.
Yeah, and we were close-ish to the end of the first season.
Right. So yeah, a whole season, and 1 or 2 episodes. We're not going back. We're not going back. Okay. So should we talk about the benefits of considering a documentary for getting your feet wet in an independent film life?
Yeah. So, I mean, here's the thing about a documentary. You can go out with your phone. You can just start filming stuff. Right? It doesn't matter what you want to make a documentary about, but you should have an idea of what you want to make a documentary about. It doesn't mean you need to have the whole story, beginning, middle, and end, tied up in a neat little bow. You just go and investigate, and you talk to people, and you film what you're doing, right?
Well, you have to have a launching structure,
right?
I go into a little more detail on that.
It helps to do prep work,
right?
But what you do not need to jump into making a documentary, right? You don't need a script,
right?
You don't need to hire actors.
Don't need sets,
right? You don't need a studio. I mean, you could use a studio for interviews and stuff, but you don't need one.
Right. You can make one, just as many people out there even today are making their podcasts in a closet.
Right.
Because they don't have an extra room, and it just makes sense. And if it's just you, right? Or you're fortunate enough to have a sizable walk-in that you can fit 2 chairs in, people will go in there as a pair and do it. Because acoustically, this is a fucking nightmare. Even though I've got the panels up and stuff, and I've tried to do whatever, unless I turn this thing into a whole cushy room, I got to do post to clean it up.
Yeah. Well, you don't need props.
No props. Basically, no production level stuff.
Right.
Right. And we've talked about indie film. You can do a short in your apartment, right? Or in your house, and in somebody's room, right? You can do it in somebody's living room or your own. But you do need, for filmmaking, to get it going good, you do need lighting, right? At least a modicum of understanding on how to light the thing. And
good sound equipment.
And yeah, good sound equipment so it doesn't sound like somebody left a camcorder on the floor.
Right.
And just like zeroed in on people. Well, they weren't, didn't know.
Right. But ultimately, you could, if you had no other options, go out by yourself, take your phone, talk to people. Right? That's the most basic.
Right.
Everything above that is just kind of ways to increase the value of your production.
Right. And we'll get more into that too. Another thing, there's no shooting schedule.
Absolutely not. You don't have to do a 16-hour shooting day.
No.
You could do it in 1 or 2 hours a week, really.
Now, if you have investors, okay,
you're going to want to have a bit of a schedule.
You got to have a schedule, because I was thinking of Hilton in that documentary he did on the shooting.
Yeah.
Out in Seattle at the train station. And, that he got some people to put money into it. So they put a little more, pressure on it.
Yeah.
Right. But then we're going to talk about this. Our good friend Kyle Hester has a series of documentaries that he's put together. And so folks, if you've if you've gone out before onto YouTube and looked up Kyle Hester Actor Guy and looked up his channel, he does these like walks around Hollywood. And it's like on his way to the gym or on his way to get coffee or just out and about. And it's just a way to make videos to put on the channel so the channel can start generating income, which I think last year finally getting a little something, where he realized in many, many of those videos, he had footage of the homeless situation during the pandemic.
Right.
In LA. And he realized he could cut all those segments out of those more than a dozen of his walkabout videos, which are like 20 to 30 minutes, sometimes 10, depends on where he's going and what he feels like, and turn it into a documentary. So we're going to talk about that too, but going out and shooting, sometimes you just never know what could happen. For the most part, it's budget free.
Correct.
Cost you your time. If you're doing a deep dive, then you'll have money for like travel and stuff, even if it's like bus fare, right?
Yeah.
And these are things we'll get into about these different ones. I did have a note. Now, this is not to say that spending money on a camera, or more importantly, a microphone, isn't necessary. And I say that modern phones, and I mean the good phones, right? I'm not talking about the $169 Samsung.
The penny phones that you get?
Yeah. They're shit.
Yeah.
They are shit. So you don't have to get a high-end iPhone or a high-end Samsung, but you can get like mid-level ones. It's going to still run you $400 to $500 to get something that has a decent enough camera and microphone to get you moving. Okay?
Right.
Now, on the other side of that, you could spend that money, put it towards like a GoPro that has has a mic input. There you go.
Right.
GoPros without those have pretty good microphones, because that's what Kyle uses now when he does his walkabout. Someone got him a GoPro. It's a little stick, Yeah. And it sounds really good. And the picture's pretty cool too. I mean, it's 4K, there you go. But, as always with anything, if you can spend money on equipment, I would highly recommend a microphone or a microphone setup over a camera. And we'll talk about that later towards the end when we'll go through our recommendations on
Sure.
and why kind of thing. Okay. I have fundamentals of a documentary. So the fundamentals of a documentary. So we have the benefits. First, and this is the first and foremost of everything, is you have to have story. A documentary does have to tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
Benefit is you don't have to write the story.
Right.
You don't have to come up with the beginning, the middle, and the end. You don't have to come up with the 3 acts. You don't have to come up with the characters and all this shit, right? But you have to have the story. You have to have something in mind, whether it's investigative or whatever.
Yeah, or historical, or
Right. You can put it all out, write it out. I'm going to do a documentary on this, cover this, 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 and this. That's not a guarantee that you know how it's going to turn out, where it's going to go, right? Some of the best documentaries get like to that 75% mark, and then it just goes off the fucking rails and takes you into a place that is like, whoa.
Well, a really good example of that is Sasquatch, which was on Hulu.
Yes.
Which someone went out to investigate a story of someone who was killed by a Sasquatch.
Yes.
And what they found instead was the story of this huge drug ring in the Emerald Triangle.
Yes.
I mean, and everyone kind of knows what the Emerald Triangle is, but it got very disturbing.
And if you don't, listen to our episode on Welcome to Willits,
right? Because
that whole movie is based on the Emerald Triangle.
It really is
fucking wild.
And so it's almost a bait and switch because it's called Sasquatch. It doesn't end up actually being about Sasquatch.
Right.
It ends up being about something different. But even just the story of how he went out there searching for this one story and found this other wholly different story.
Yes. And the reason that's on our list is because that's a perfect example, folks. Watch it.
Yeah, it's excellent.
Because this is a perfect example of setting out to do something, had everything A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way to Z, had this shit mapped out. This is what they were going to do. And it literally sucker punched them and knocked them fucking goofy.
Yeah.
But it never ceased to be interesting, and they adapted quickly. And the way the documentary is presented, it doesn't lose its tone.
Right.
It doesn't turn into, well, nothing's fucking happening.
Right. Well, I guess we didn't find Sasquatch.
Yeah. And they're scrambling for shit. They pivoted and they followed. And I don't want to give away too much more, but it was interesting as hell. And we watched it until the credits rolled in the last bit.
And it was actually quite frightening.
A little. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a really good example of when shit gets out of your control. Don't give up. All right. See it as an opportunity to pivot. In the case, a little bit of a spoiler, if it were to get that dangerous, though, folks, just as a human being, I'm going to say just walk away from it, because nothing is ever worth
your life.
Right. Now, caveat, I'm going to say that our journalists are people who are covering some of the most horrific shit going on in the world and put themselves in danger. We've seen multiple documentaries about these guys. That's the job they chose. That's the life they chose. And they have their own personal motivation. And I just want to make clear, we are not demeaning them in any way.
Right.
Right?
No.
But if you're doing a story about pot, no, it doesn't hit that level. It's not worth it.
No.
Just not worth it. So a solid basis is really what you need to begin the filming. So you have to like sketch out, your steps. Like, what are you going to do? Background.
Right.
When you're making a documentary, people are going to want to know the first thing you need to think is, what is it about your story that's going to make us want to watch it?
Right.
And that's infinite.
Why we want to watch it.
That is exactly it. What happened? Who was involved? What are the facts that lead us to the beginning of the journey? All that stuff. And folks, it could be anything. That's the thing.
Good.
We're not saying make it socially relevant. Don't make it a thing of the times. Don't capitalize on like the brand of the moment. Because we've seen some magnificent documentaries that were about such niche things that had it not somehow miraculously come upon the feed or something,
like
we would
the
never
Pez
know.
Outlaw,
The Pez Outlaw.
King
God,
of
yes.
Kong.
Yeah.
Chicken people.
Chicken people. I was thinking of chicken people in particular.
Tickled.
Yeah. It needs, here's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
For the background. And this goes to the story. If you have the story right, you're going to be able to figure out the background. It has to resonate within you.
Right.
Either like at a heartfelt level, an emotional level, a spiritual level, an intellectual level, or just an even, I've heard about this so many times.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? Because there's nothing on it. Just your curiosity.
Yeah.
Okay. But you have to be dialed in. You have to be dialed in.
If you don't care about the story that you're covering, there's no reason that we should.
Exactly. And when it comes to background, it can depend. And this is going to, further down, I have, this is going to be under narrative, but, how are you going to present this? Is this something important to you? Okay, so let's hear about how you came. Let's do 10 minutes on you.
Mm-hmm.
Your journey. I heard of chicken people. I don't know what chicken people were. So I went and I looked and I thought, this needs to be told. Okay.
Right.
Bam.
Yeah.
Bam. That's you check the box off with just that.
Or maybe one day you stumbled into a chicken show and you went, what the fuck is happening here?
You know what? Some of our great authors from the 60s and early 70s on acid trips and other things, most of their greatest stories and most poignant moments in life were accidentally stumbling into shit. They had no clue what the fuck was going on.
Right.
But it became a thing and they just like rolled with it.
Yeah. And that's the thing you should do. I had a great time on my birthday going out with my friends because we sort of accidentally crashed a family reunion that we were definitely standing out in.
See, and that's the thing.
And it was a blast.
That is how it works.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the best part. In filmmaking, that's generally how production comes to a halt and it doesn't flow. Right? But if you're making a documentary, absolutely this can work in your favor.
Yes.
Absolutely. That brings us to the catch. What's the hook?
Mm-hmm.
Why is this going to be interesting? If you have it in here, right, somewhere in your brain or whatever, you're going to make it interesting.
Yeah.
This really should already be clear in the story portion. Like, what's the story? People who have these chicken shows and are really into them, right?
Yeah.
Like, just like dog shows and stuff, but even slightly different.
It is. I mean, yeah, Chicken People, the documentary, is a lot like the movie Best in Show, except it's a real documentary about people who love showing chickens.
Yep, exactly. And the thing is, things that are interesting don't always present themselves as such. And that's like when you come across stuff like that whole family reunion thing. If you guys weren't doing your own thing and you didn't have just the one night, you could have really just like dove in. But you know what? I'm going to ask if I can, maybe not even video it, right? But just, hey, can I talk to you about, you mind if I record? Because blah, 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 blah. And, if they say, I think you just talk to people. Mm-hmm. That could be enough to get it going.
It could.
Right.
Yeah, I could have busted out my camera and went around talking to everyone at that family reunion. And I bet I would have gotten some good stories.
I'm pretty sure you would. One thing I noted is if it's a slow burn documentary, because some of them are, and these are usually like the big ones that they put a lot of money into post and stuff. Like after the fact, they give these people tons of money to like commercialize it and stuff.
Right.
And that's just filmmaking in general, right? Sometimes a slow burn pays off. You got to start up front with a blast of what it's about.
Right.
You can't wait till like 5. You're going to break it into 10 episodes, 30 minutes each. You can't wait till the 5th episode to let us know why the fuck we've even been tuning in.
Okay. I will say, as far as slow burns go, there's a major difference between a slow burn documentary and a slow burn docuseries.
Yes.
So a slow burn documentary, you can, I'm going to say almost like Agatha Christie it, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Even if it's not like a true crime documentary, you can kind of Agatha Christie, whatever.
Right.
Whatever it is, you're dancing around until your big reveal at the end. That's fine.
Right.
But if you're doing a docuseries, you need to, every single episode, give us a teeny tiny bombshell, right? Give us a little taste of what, a twist, a turn, something interesting, something that keeps us wanting to go to the next episode.
Right. And that kind of goes to the editing, which I'm going to get into or bring up and we can talk about. But yeah, so basically, no matter what, in the end, when you have all of this done, right, editing is kind of where it mostly ends up. I actually have narrative after editing because that I'll explain. Editing is not difficult if you know how to tell a story. And
correct.
Some listeners might be like, well, Jim, how do you tell a story? And Jim's going to say the 3 tenets of storytelling, right? There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And you have to take it, and there's character development, there's story development. So in a documentary, I will call it interest development. And if it's a series, a docuseries, then you have to have those little moments of reveal. Just like a TV show, right? They don't give us everything.
Tiger King does this phenomenally.
Yes, we're going to use that as an example.
Yeah. End of every episode is a new crazy thing that you go, what? Mm-hmm. And you want to watch the next one. Let's explore that.
Let's jump into the editing because that is what saved Tiger King.
Yeah.
Okay. So to me, editing is the single most important piece, right? Because you got to be able to put it together. If the editing is poor, it doesn't matter how interesting this thing is, nothing's going to save it.
Right.
Right after the fact. And here's the thing: how does your story present? How does it feel in you? Is it linear? Is it jumped around? Is it like a mystery or thriller, presenting pieces of the puzzle surrounded by segments pertaining to that piece that lead us to the next one? That's most important for like a docuseries, right? Make me satisfied for being here and then leave me with something at the end that I want to nibble on to get to the next one.
Correct.
Okay, because that's what you were saying. But I'm going to say this, and then we should talk about Hellier for just a second here.
Okay.
About these elements before we do comparisons.
Sure.
I put this in my notes in all caps.
Okay.
The one thing that is crucial, do not give us real-time happenings. All right? I am not sitting down to watch your fucking Aunt Edna's home movie of little Johnny's bar mitzvah. I'm not. I don't give a shit what goes on there, but I don't need a 4.5 hour fucking uncut real-time presentation. And this is what drains my ass trying to scroll through social media and stuff. And I really try not to, but there's, a few things that I like, and people who can, deliver their shit to me in 15 seconds, maybe 30.
Right.
Right. Okay, cool. Like the woman who, rides her bike, where she's not a bike expert like us.
Right.
It's somebody who's like us. She's just, I'm like, oh, I find it interesting.
Yeah.
And if there's a situation I run into, maybe I've seen something about it. Right.
Right.
What this has to do with Hellier is, and I wrote, if I wanted to watch 30 minutes real time of a paranormal investigation, I would go on one.
Right. Exactly.
Let's just wrap this up with the narrative bit, and then let's start talking about why these things came to mind because of Hellier and who did it better or who did it worse.
All right. So
the narrative is, once you're all done, and you can think about this during the editing, you have to, how is this going to be presented? Are you narrating? Is it you? Is it your POV? Are you narrating throughout while you're making it? Are you doing interviews? Interviews are top, by the way.
Yes.
That takes a load of shit off
Talking
of
with
you.
real people about real stuff. Yeah, it takes a whole bunch off of you.
Yeah. And I mean, you have to know how to do an interview and stuff. We'll talk about that. Or you can do like put it all together and do a narrating voiceover in post.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to narrate the story after it's already been put together? There's restraints to consider in all these formats. So if you're narrating while filming, sometimes that can end up being sloppy. You might not be able to deliver because you're doing everything, right? You're trying to keep shit on track. You're looking for the interesting stuff, and you're trying to narrate what's going on while thinking ahead of where you're going to go. And you're looking for the things. You can like miss little bits of information. A fair number of what you're doing will probably be cut. Right. Just like, that's not even usable. Or you cut the audio and then you're back to doing a voiceover.
Right.
Which is fine. Not saying don't narrate while you're filming. These are just pros and cons.
It kind of depends on the documentary you're doing. I mean,
it does.
Okay. So there are a bunch of different types of documentaries, right? A bunch of different categories.
I got some of those too.
And all of them have sort of their own standard formats.
They do.
You don't necessarily need to stick to that format, but just keep in mind there is a reason those formats are widely accepted and used.
True.
Like, know the rules before you plan to break them. If you're doing a nature documentary, voiceovers in post are what most people do.
Yeah. So let's go to narrating while filming.
Okay.
I would say do that often, even though that's not your thing, because a lot of people do this. That's their way of making notes.
Right.
Right. So when they go into edit, they have the stuff right there. They can watch them and be, oh shit, yeah. Because they know that audio is never going to be in.
Correct.
Right. But something might happen where it's like, yeah, put that in. But like David Attenborough isn't out there schlepping around in his hip waders.
Oh no.
Right. Just fucking babbling while the guys are filming. They get him for the in-between shots. They get him for, there's a whole team of cameramen out filming stuff.
Mm-hmm. And
then they give him the script after they see the footage, do some pickup shots with him, but mostly it's just him talking.
Yes.
And it's lovely.
It is so soothing.
Interviews are great because you can take like a 30-minute interview and you can bust that bitch up into 31-minute pieces if you have to and you want to, if it works.
Right.
Right. And you can mix and match them. You can make it to match your editing style, your story style. So interviews are the most productive, most useful,
right,
flexible things. The only warning about post-production narration is sometimes it can make the whole thing bland.
Yeah.
We've seen some interesting documentaries that watching it was great, but anytime the narrator came on, you could just feel the life meter getting sucked right down. Just like, oh my God, this would be so much better just on mute, because everything else was cool.
Mm-hmm.
But so those are like the fundamentals to me. And you said there's like many types, and I wrote like history and historical. Those are typical like History Channel things, not reenactments. Right. But, just regular history, almost /sciencey.
Sort of like thing. Archaeology, ancient apocalypse, not necessarily, we're not going into crime.
No, that's further down.
Right.
We have people.
Mm-hmm.
They could be historical people, but it's not the period, it's the person.
Right.
We've watched a lot of those. War documentaries have been all the way from ancient times to modern.
Yeah.
Crime.
Mm-hmm.
Crime is huge. Always has been. I grew up with my grandfather. Every fucking time we went to the store, he'd pick up like a True Detective magazine or The Detectives or something. And I saw a lot of stuff I probably shouldn't have seen.
Everyone's always loved crime stuff.
At 5 years old, but they had actual like crime scene photos in there, uncensored.
Oh.
Yeah, this is before everyone got weak in the knees. about stuff. I'm like, whoa, that's wow. Anyway, political stuff, politics, documentaries on race, all the race issues. A lot of that's history, a lot of that's people. Some are very specific. You can it's not a particular person, but it's focusing on a particular race or ethnicity. And, unfortunately, mostly the bad things that have happened.
Right.
I'm not saying, why don't we have good ones? Well, a lot of bad things have happened. There's a lot of stuff out there yet to make documentaries on, unfortunately, and I hope we see them at some point. Then there's science and scientific, medical, and then the informative stuff.
Sure.
Right. That's kind of the subjects, What do you want to start with? And we can talk about well, you brought up Tiger King.
I did bring up Tiger King.
Okay. So I put a quick note on Tiger King. No way of knowing what this was going to be about. And when watching, thought it was all figured out, and then it went in a completely different direction. And famously, we had talked about this in the past.
Yeah.
You had been watching it. You started watching. You got 2 episodes in, I believe. Watched the whole first one.
I watched the whole first one. I had started the second one.
Yeah, I walked out and I'm like, the hell are you watching? So she tells me, you tell me, I said, you showed me the trailer. And I just thought this was about, okay, this seems interesting. It's about some dude who has like a big cat park. Okay. I vaguely knew about these kinds of things, these wildlife parks and sanctuaries and stuff that weren't really parks and sanctuaries. So it was interesting. So I'm like, maybe I'll learn something about this. I'm never too proud to admit when I'm wrong. And I missed that fucking ball. I swung 100 times at that bitch and didn't get one hit.
Well, you asked what it was, and I was like, you have got to watch this because it is buck wild.
Yes, I love that. Buck wild. And it was.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's wait a second. Let's go to Hellier. The problem with Hellier is it started out great, but then it rapidly fell apart because these folks, there were 2 different teams who ended up coming together over a period of time. And it sort of devolved into a less interesting version of Ghost Hunters.
Yes.
We have watched many paranormal shows, and paranormal investigators, if you're listening, I encourage you to keep doing what you're doing, but I'm not going to lie. Most of it bores me because most of it's easily explainable. Most of it's just bullshit.
Yeah.
Right. I've been on them. I've watched them.
And a lot of it's just inflammatory garbage.
Yeah. And it depends. It's, if you're on like a primetime network, I know it's like any other reality shit. It's mostly scripted and it's just, theater and dramatics.
Well, here's the thing. I think they know because most paranormal investigators, when they start a show or a documentary, all of them do this. They go, we're not those kind of paranormal investigators. We're not those, like bullshit artists. We're real.
Right. Well, here's the thing. Okay. So like Ghost Hunters. It's an hour-long show each week, right? And they'd spend all fucking night in a place. So let's say 12 hours, right? From after initial setup all the way into when they're like, let's call it quits. All right. Now, they had the common sense not to show me 12 fucking hours of uncut footage, right?
Yeah.
They got to the thing. Anyway, so the problem with Hellier is we went from these goblins and this whole thing to something completely wildly different, which somehow tangentialized to fucking Mothman prophecies.
Right.
And an absolute fucking earworm, ball-breaking barrage of the word synchronicity.
Yeah.
Synchronicity.
Oh, God.
And I'm not talking about, the album by the Police. Anyway, this whole thing fell apart. The initial story was bullshit, and then it turned into just.
Well, they were getting scammed.
They were scammed, and then they just like kept pushing forward. They had nothing. It should have been stopped.
Yeah,
and it should have been a documentary on being scammed like that.
Yeah,
right. That would have been much more interesting and would have been further. But we just kept watching the same shit. First of all, we live in the woods. Folks, I'm going to say this. So this is the squatchers and everybody. In the woods, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of noises. There is stuff breaking. There is stuff cracking. And I don't mean like like stepping on a leaf. I mean, crack. We hear it all the time. I promise you, there's no Bigfoot. There's no Yetis. There's no anything. We don't have any chupacabras.
Wood knock sounds all the time. Weird noises that don't sound like any animal.
But when you're out there long enough and you're not doing this little setup thing, you're actually paying attention, you'll see the deer that come by. And let me tell you, deer are some of the noisiest motherfuckers.
They really are.
Especially at night. Oh my God.
And squirrels.
You know, and trees grow, right? And things split and crack and all. Anyway, we hear it all the time. And I just, you know, at one point we paused, we went out for a cigarette, and I'm like, if these people came here, they'd lose their minds.
I know.
Right? Because we could sit out there with your aunt and uncle, and we could, you know, just sit in the middle of one of the trails and just go fucking bonkers over the sounds. Or you just kick back and you're being like, yeah, I know exactly what all this shit is. Let's just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Not everything's coming to get you, you know? So anyway, that's what it devolved into. And then we ended up not only just in the woods, but then at one point in a opening of a cave.
It wasn't, though. It was like an old
tunnel.
It
was an old trade tunnel. It was supposed to be a mile long. And then they abandoned it because it was unstable.
Right.
At some point. It was for coal mining. Yeah. We knew early on this had ended. This documentary was over. Because what they were talking about was, it wasn't real.
Right.
It was bullshit. Something was handed to them.
Right.
None of it.
There were no goblins.
Yeah. I mean, well, there were based on the stories, but the letter that they got, the email that they got was bullshit. And it just kind of went tangential. It's like they were trying to, you know, cover their asses. And I think that was the wrong way to go.
Well, yeah. They were like, we started doing this documentary. We have to just keep till we find something.
Right. And then how there's a season 2, I can't even begin to fucking comprehend it. If it's about the fucking Mothman prophecies again, then I certainly am not interested because I've seen enough of that. And it's like their takes on it to begin with were not super great. So anyway, let's go to Tiger King. Okay. Why don't you tell us about how that went narratively?
Oh, okay.
What made it interesting?
First of all, the trailer for Tiger King was phenomenal. Told you exactly what you were getting into as far as the trailer can.
Yeah.
The first episode, they just kick off with you're not going to believe this unless you watch it. Right?
Yep.
And then they give you a whole bunch of this and this and this and this and this and all this stuff about Joe Exotic and his zoo. And the first episode of that really actually is sort of like the beginning of an essay, right?
Kind of, yeah. Yeah.
It tells you everything that's going to happen in the season. And you're just like, what? How do we go from, you know, this admittedly eccentric fellow
right.
who owns a, you know, big cat
park. Yeah.
To, you know, murder for hire plot and, you know, all the other stuff that honestly, I didn't even care about the murder for hire plot. I just wanted to see what footage they caught of this guy doing all his wild shit.
I know. So to me, what made all that work, very first episode, they introduce you to a character, a man who is so fucking far out there.
Yes.
Right? That I was like, I don't really care what's going on.
And he's real.
I've got to know more.
He's somehow a real person.
I know. He is just wild as shit. Joe Exotic was just nothing I had seen.
Right.
At that level. But at some point you could see where the story started turning.
Yeah.
Right. And even the guy who was doing the documentary and doing the TV show for him and all that stuff realized at one point, he quit at one point.
Yes.
Because it was all this bad shit happened. But then we're like, it went from this thing to the animal smuggling and exotic animal underground trade.
And kind of shedding all this light on all of this dark shit.
Dark shit. And then there's the murder for hire thing. And then we got Carol Baskin, and did she or did she not kill her husband? That became a whole thing. And then we bring in like Jeff and just I couldn't write this if I took like a fucking bucket full of drugs.
It's a very good, like, I mean, here's a really good theme for a documentary is the truth is stranger than fiction.
Absolutely.
Right?
And they embrace that. And folks, as we're talking about these documentaries, the idea is for you to watch them. If you're thinking, yeah, I could do a documentary, I want to get into independent filmmaking and I like this idea and I've got some ideas about things, watch these things that we're talking about because see how they were handled for good or bad. Right?
Right.
Because this is a perfect example of started out with this crazy motherfucker, like he put it, just a gun-toting gay guy and not a great place for, gay folks and stuff, and
right.
Very rednecky, and has tigers and some other things,
and proudly rocks a mullet.
Yeah, but proudly isn't even the right word. But anyway, and then how it turned into all this weird shit, but they kept a through line in it, and they tied it with, they kept Joe. Yeah. All this weird shit's going on, and anyway, it's a great example of when things pivot. Look for the connected story, right?
Right.
Or at any point, they could have abandoned him and gone with any of these other main points or other people.
Well, I will say, so there were all these documentaries that came out after Tiger King. I mean, there was the second season of Tiger King, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
But then there was the Doc Antle one. There was the Carol Baskin one. Yeah. There was the, who's that guy? Tim something or other.
Tim?
Yeah, he had the monkeys and.
Oh, yeah. Well, and then they focused on Jeff and his dealings with the law.
Jeff. And all those documentaries felt like a cash grab, kind of feeding on the success of the Tiger King. But it's a business, right?
It is a business. It is. But
I don't think those were good. They didn't quite hit the way
they did not.
Tiger King did.
They did not. They did not hit. They were poor. But anyway, so yeah, there's a good example of pivoting, and we got some more we're going to touch on, and just talk about the things, the do's and don'ts. So one I want to mention is Citizen 4. This is the documentary of Ed Snowden. And I put this down because this is one where real time works, but I'm going to explain why. Okay. So this is one, it actually made me think about this watching Hellier, because again, it was just like 20 solid minutes of this stuff. And it's like, fuck, so boring.
Right.
And I'm trying so hard not to just go into a bitch rant about some things.
Hellier's gotten a lot of our mentions, and we'll just kind of let it be.
Okay. So Citizen 4, what makes that work with real-time footage is we weren't watching the whole thing in real time. This was multiple days.
Right.
Right. The real-time footage, when we get to that point, it's kind of dispersed. First, there's a whole big build-up on the communications and how it all came about. And then when he's in hiding in Hong Kong, and we see him with these reporters and the cameraman in his hotel room. So it's real time. And what makes it work is, and we were just talking about this, we're watching the news that we saw.
Right. When everything happened.
When everything was happening and the things coming out, and Obama giving, talks, and the press, all the different press secretaries and DOD people. And we're watching him and them. They're seeing it as it's happening. So that's kind of like a link. Like, I remember watching that, and oh my fucking God, this is what was happening in that room at that exact moment that we had no clue about. Masterful editing.
Very good editing.
To make it work. But here's the thing. It was like a few minutes at a time. And then they were in that room all fucking day. We didn't see that room all day, all the footage. Right?
No.
They edited to tell the story, the pertinent pieces, right? That's what's important. Hitting the record button, setting the camera down, and then doing your thing for 20 minutes. No.
Right.
No. That is not how you do it. You need to cut 18 minutes of that out, unless there's like shit happening all through. Then it becomes a whole different thing. So that's one of my favorite documentaries because of that. It really, and I've watched it over and over and over and over again. And people, oh, you've asked at one point, why do you watch the again? It's just compelling.
It really is.
It really is. And it's like watching anything over and over and over again. You may see something new or see something differently, or things might click a different way, or, you just get more out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But it's also entertaining because it's a subject that I, have feelings about.
Right.
And, I like watching it from time to time,
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just, I wanted to bring that one up for the real time thing. Everything's in real time when you're doing it.
Right.
Right. But, as a viewer, we really don't want to see the 85 hours straight of uncut footage of Ed in his room.
Right.
Waiting for shit to happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it doesn't tell the story.
Just eating a pizza.
Yeah.
Right. You don't need to see that stuff.
So what do you have?
Okay. So this is not an independent documentary series by any means, but Unsolved Mysteries.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What I really liked about the series originally as a kid, and now that they are continuing it, Netflix is continuing
yes.
it, is that there's a huge interactive component to them.
Yes.
Every episode, right? And it's always the same interactive component. And these are unsolved mysteries. We're trying to solve them. If anybody watching this knows anything about them, you know the lines.
Yeah.
Right? Call into the tip line.
Yep.
And that, as a kid, I loved that about them.
Mm-hmm.
That they were asking me for my help. I can't help because I don't know anything about them. But one day I might watch one and go, wait a second.
I know that.
Right.
Or yeah.
Or somebody somewhere is going to do that.
Well, and that's kind of the thing too, is you cannot watch enough news or read enough news to know all these fucking things that some of them are just wild as shit. Mm-hmm. Some of them are just, straight crime. Some of them are just, mystery. Like, what the hell happened to this guy or what or whatever.
Yeah. But I mean, it's easy to feel like true crime documentaries are interactive because you're sleuthing as you go along, right? Like you're forming your own theories. You're bouncing off of what it's showing you. You're talking to somebody about your theories. They're inherently interactive.
How many Facebook groups started
after like Making a Murder?
Making a Murderer, but more importantly, Tiger King, especially the whole thing with Carol Baskin.
Sure, yeah.
And then about Joe Exotic and just they're out there. And not any demeaning to any of them. I think it's great.
Well,
because it gets you going, right? And there's one that I'm going to talk about that started out that way that actually solved.
I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I like that interactive component in a documentary. It doesn't really matter what kind of documentary it is, because if you can figure out how to add a sort of interactive component to your documentary, that is going to pull people in.
Yes.
Right?
And, it does good.
Yes.
Well, it's trying to.
Right.
So, yeah. That brings in a good thing. So, like crime documentaries, be it unsolved mysteries or whatever, they go on a specific television format, which is the basic television storytelling episode per episode per episode, right? Has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Has the introduction, has the event, and then not really a climax, right? But the payoff.
Right.
This is where the story ends, and we need you.
Yes.
Right. And that is a cool thing, and I loved watching it. When it was on, and it was Robert Roach.
Yeah. It also is right in the title, Unsolved Mysteries. Like, you're not going to know what happened at the end. You might have your theories.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Well, we watched it when it came back.
Yeah.
We're like, yeah, this is exactly what it was when it was here before. This is awesome. A lot of good shows like that. So there's like a few, like the Texas killing fields, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now this one wasn't interactive, didn't have that component because it was about this thing that went on, but the way
Right.
it was done was very standard crime format,
Yes.
right? They give you the information up to a point, and then at the very end, they have the boom, the bomb drop, or
Mm.
that next nugget,
Right.
like coming next week, right? This is what the episode's going to be about. But it gives you that next thing, that cliffhanger, or this piece of information,
Mm-hmm.
and then boom, next episode, that's where they go. So another one that I had note on, Spycraft. It was about spycraft from the 30s on up to today,
Sure.
which fascinates me for more than just I'm interested reasons. There's some things about it but it's a standard format. It's the same thing. It's almost like a crime format,
Yeah.
right? So it's not just like throwing random shit at you and this is how you get information. This is how you use the information. This is how they get information. This is how they use information. There's a story to it,
Yeah. I
right?
thought you were going to bring up Don't Fuck with Cats.
Oh, well, that's what I'm coming up to next.
Oh, okay.
So that's mine.
Yeah.
So Don't Fuck with Cats. This was an interesting format because this was not typical crime format. Actually started out very much like Tiger King.
Mm-hmm.
Going into it, I wasn't really sure where it was going to lead, but it takes this wild swing, just like Tiger King, with really some grace,
Mm-hmm.
but you never feel lost. So this is one to watch for that same thing with Tiger King. How to deal when this shit just goes wildly rampant. So Don't Fuck with Cats really just started out with online sleuthers.
Mm-hmm.
Someone got hold of footage of somebody fucking taking videos of cats and hurting them and stuff, and um came into a fucking murder thing, and it was people at home,
Mm-hmm.
armchair investigators investigating something that people didn't even know at the time was a crime.
Amateur sleuths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and it has a very satisfying ending. But yeah, that is another wild fucking ride. And that's the thing. If you want to make a pivot work when it happens to you and you're doing one of these you're doing a documentary on anything, these are good examples of how to do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you don't have to necessarily. It could be like, oh, this isn't anywhere, like the chicken people, right?
Right.
So the chicken people suddenly turns into smuggling of parrots and birds from Brazil and this and
Right.
that. Okay, so we lost the folksiness of it.
Right.
And if that happened while, say, we were making, I'd be like, we hit an end. Do we have enough,
We broke the tone.
right, to do a little thing on what we've got, or do we just walk away from this because it?
Right. Or do we make this into two different documentaries?
Right? Is this something different?
Mm-hmm.
So let's go that route, kind of thing. The Pez.
Oh, the Pez Outlaw.
The Pez Outlaw.
Hilarious.
That is an example of there aren't a lot of people who would really care.
No.
I mean, initially in a conversation.
It's a niche thing.
But when you see it, I could give two shit. We got some Pez things. I'm not a Pez collector. We loved Pez as a kid. I have a few that, I liked. We've gotten as a gift, or we've gotten each other, and we got like Harry Potter ones, and I got those Star Trek ones at auction and whatever. I didn't bid on them. They were in a box.
They came in a package.
Just in a box of random shit.
Yeah.
And I think for $40, I got all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, they made it fun and humorous at points, right?
Yeah.
And they did recreations with him.
They did like dramatizations of his adventures.
Yeah, and
smuggling Pez.
Kind of like little over the top.
But matching the tone.
But that was the tone that they had set, because that was a fun as hell.
Oh yeah.
Documentary. And again, something I wouldn't have thought to care about, but it was something that happened, and it was like the Pez Outlaw. they don't mean Pez, right? What?
Right.
But yeah, believe it or not, folks, the world of Pez had an underside.
It had an underbelly.
But you got to watch it. You got to watch it. So anyway, that's, yeah, I don't want to like just keep rolling on stuff, but those are good examples of pivoting and Pez Outlaw, the whole niche thing we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Just because your thing interests you and you don't think it's going to interest anybody else, pursue it. Because someone like us will find the title or the synopsis, be like, what?
Yeah.
And we'll want to watch.
Yes.
And people who know what the fuck you're talking about right off, they're going to come to it anyway. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a couple here.
Bring it.
So the Murdaugh murders.
Yes.
I have a couple of things to say about this one. This is one that could have been condensed. It did not need to be a docuseries. It could have been a single shot documentary, maybe 2 hours.
I would say 2 hours, or maybe like a 2 episode. If they wanted to like break it up, I wouldn't have gone more than 2.
We did not need the years of build up to what actually happened. But what I think they did a really good job of for this documentary was it was a very topical situation.
Yes.
Because a lot of the country was talking about the Murdaugh case, right? That was in court at the time.
Right.
And it was this really interesting situation, right? About this family that basically owned this town and yada, 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 and what happened. So they were smart to capitalize on the popularity of the news at the time. Like it was released timely.
Right. And I would group that with crime because it was about a crime.
It was a crime.
But I would also put it more in the informative type of documentary because it was something that had happened recently, and things were the latter aspect of it, the court pieces and everything, was still ongoing.
Yes.
When they made this, yeah.
Yes. Well, and when they released it,
when it was
that
released,
court stuff was still ongoing.
It was still ongoing, yeah.
There's a lot that could have been like condensed, like what Jennifer did. Another crime one that could have been condensed, didn't need to be docuseries.
Right.
It did not have to be multiple episodes. But one that I thought, here's an example of another thing that they can do in documentaries that can make it almost unwatchable is dramatizations.
Yes. I was waiting for you to bring that up.
So The Keepers is my example for this. So you and I began watching The Keepers, which is yet another documentary on Netflix. Netflix has a lot of really good documentaries.
I mean, they do.
On it, and they've been producing a lot of really good documentaries.
Yeah.
But this one was like 80% dramatizations.
Mm-hmm.
And there was so much that I couldn't finish the series. And it wasn't necessarily just the dramatizations, but kind of what those dramatizations brought up, particularly for me, which is a me thing.
Right.
Right. But if you need to fluff your documentary up with dramatizations to the point where over half of what you're showing is dramatization, and now I'm sick of the word.
Like synchronicity.
Ugh, then don't. Please don't do it.
And I agree.
There's that pirate one.
Yes. We love pirate documentaries because there just aren't enough.
And I mean, to be fair, there is not a lot. I mean, you're not going to get interviews with pirates, right?
No.
You're not going to get, an interview with Blackbeard. You're not going to get great footage of wooden sailing ships.
Or the last words of Charles Vane alone in an alley before they hung him, or Bellamy when his ship went down. None of that. Yeah.
But what you can do is interview people who are experts in the subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And you can do other things for the visual aspect of it.
Right.
I would expect a documentary about pirates to have a good amount of dramatization in it.
Yeah.
And if you have to, then at least make it good. Because, that one we watched wasn't good.
It was not. I would say dramatizations. So if you're making you decide you're going to make a documentary, It's about something that happened, right? Not something that's current. I'll
Right.
explain what the difference is. Um, Sometimes they're important. Like I watch a lot of archaeological
Hmm.
documentaries, right? And very seldom do they do things with recreations. There's just why. But if there's a specific thing that they discover or found, they'll illustrate its use. And rather than just having like the PhD candidates, right, who are doing all the shit work, kind of like pages,
Yeah.
at NBC and stuff, trying to get into a writer's room. Um, you know, they they will bring in some folks and they will do a setup and to show a specific thing to help illustrate where words sometimes don't encapsulate, right? Because
Right.
they're not story. When you put documentarians are not typically wound up in the floral aspects of writing, right? The beauty of
Right.
it. It's about presentation, information. That's fine. Um,
And particularly if you're doing your own independent documentary, as
right.
people listening to this might do, keep in mind a dramatization is going to cost you a heck of a lot of money.
Well, or it may not. You may be able to get a couple people if it's not really like an acting type thing.
Hmm.
If it's just more of a like how to how the lever thing worked, or how this looked, or how it this person stood was. I mean, that could be easily done.
Sure.
Um, but when you get into the big stuff, so the high end stuff, I do like dramatizations where like we were talking about like Egypt, right?
Yeah.
With all the discoveries going on in Egypt, I was super fascinated the first time they gave a dramatization of what like the pyramids looked like the day after they were done,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm like, that's what these fucking people were looking at for all this time.
Shiny, beautiful.
Yeah, that this is what the tombs look like before the age and the dry rot got to them. I mean, it's like watching even like Game of Thrones, right?
Hmm.
So in all these fantasy films and stuff, everything's so old and dilapidated,
I know.
right? I mean, even like Lord of the Rings, the various elven kingdoms all show signs of age. And I'm like, but yeah, they've been around, but I think if you've lived for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds or thousands of years, you know how to like tidy your shit and keep it from falling apart,
One would
you know.
think.
But and what I initially grew up knowing about Egypt and all these other ancient cultures was, what they look like now, which is kind of like Pompeii, right? I'm like, God, it's, it's a it's a rough looking place. It looks kind of like my neighborhood. I mean, and these were supposed to be well off people. But when they started doing those recreations based on the stuff that they found, and they had the capability of doing it, especially with CGI,
Hmm.
right? Um, it's beautiful. It elevates,
Yeah. Well, like the
you
one with
know.
the terracotta soldiers.
Yes,
Seeing those as they would have been when they were first put there.
yes,
It's so much different.
yeah, yeah. So it has its place, has its moments, but um, for the most part, I'm not into docudramas, which I'm glad they came out with that term and
Yes.
started categorizing things
Hmm.
like that. Um, I think a lot of it, more often than not, detracts
I agree.
from the point. You got this idea and you want to do this. You know what? Hire someone like us, write the script, and shoot it as a movie.
Yep.
Right? A lot of Hollywood films about people and their lives.
Oh,
It's,
yeah.
biopics.
Hmm.
Um, Go that route. Go that route.
And
Mix.
that's fine.
Yeah, it's kind of like oil and water to me.
Yeah.
It just there's a little bit where it's okay, but then really quickly it goes sour.
Right.
Yeah.
What's one you want to discuss?
Um, well, I want to talk a little bit about things that I've watched a lot of. Both of us have watched a lot of documentaries on UFOs
Garbage.
and paranormal stuff,
Also garbage.
which I put on my list as UFO shit and paranormal shit because I'm all for investigating this stuff. But my advice would be, if that's your slant, is there anything about what your story or interest or notion is, or any of those things? is there anything about them that has not already been presented more than a dozen times in the last 30 years?
Right.
Because the answer is no to about everything I've seen in the last 10 years, right?
Most of it covers the same old tired stuff.
It is. And I mean, we knew somebody who I worked with who was into a paranormal investigation group
Mm-hmm.
and actually gave me files. See, folks, I don't shit on all this stuff. I believe it, but I believe it to the point where I'm hard as hell to convince.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Because I know most of the shit that I have seen and experienced has been explained away. I've explained it away, or I know that there's an explanation for it, but then there's those little pieces that there aren't. And that is where the nuggets lie.
Right.
But that is not enough to sustain 120 minutes. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't go on supposition and you can't go on, I want this to be true. It doesn't make it true. Right. But I have gone through footage. I have gone through the audio. I spent, God, like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Going through, and I did spectral analysis on the audio and everything, right? Went through all the video. And unfortunately, I found nothing. And believe me, I wanted to. Not to be like the guy who, found the thing. Because Mulder, I want
to believe.
I want to believe. I do believe, but
Mm-hmm.
I want to find it. I want vindication of that belief. I want that satisfaction. So all of those, I would say, abandon. Because the formats are all the same. The UFOs are people talking about the same stuff with no concrete evidence, fuzzy photos.
It's always the same 5 experts.
It's the same 5 experts, and they have redacted information
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't actually say anything. And it's all, I talked to so-and-so. Okay, do you have the footage? Do you have him? Nope, he vanished. Or this guy started talking about shit and then vanished. Okay.
Or this guy never existed.
Yeah, or this never in fact existed. And then a lot of that stuff has been debunked.
Right.
Right. One way or another. And then with the paranormal stuff, again, if you've watched like 3 seasons of Ghost Hunters, we don't need any more people sitting in a room with night vision.
No.
And this is where I will say what I was going to bitch about earlier because I'm talking about it. The one thing about paranormal investigation stuff, if you're going to do it and you're doing paranormal investigation, quit talking like you're talking to a bunch of fucking 2-year-olds.
God.
Spirits have been around longer than you. They don't need that kind of goading and instruction and stuff. They are not, like I said, 2-year-olds. They're not toddlers.
We're not trying to hurt you.
You know what? Because
we're here in a friendly capacity.
My experience with things that I'm not saying you should believe because they can't be disproven, but my experience that makes me believe this stuff is I'm here to tell you they don't care if you're there to hurt them because number one, you can't. And number two, they can.
Yeah.
Right? So remember who you are. You're just someone with inadequate equipment, just trying to reach out and get something. And believe me, no, there isn't anything out there that's fucking afraid of us, right? That we don't understand. So anyway, yeah, I would say those are the 2 subjects I would stay away from. They've been done to death.
Mm-hmm.
The formats are all the same. They're boring, if not annoying. Both try to use recreations, and it falls just way too short. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's my it for that. Now, one I want to bring up is because I saw your notes on it, Michael Moore documentaries.
Okay.
I like what you put.
That it's self-indulgent masturbatory bullshit?
Yeah. I put it just simply, I didn't give it that much information or that much attention or effort. I just put cautionary tales on falling into single view meant to convey a personal message without actual information.
Well, they're all about him.
Well, it is. Yeah. Yeah. That's why I liked yours. I'm like, that's actually, you put some real oomph into that.
Yeah.
Lover, Stalker, Killer. This is one that was interesting. It kept things moving.
Mm-hmm. And
the style was a blend of crime, personal, and narrative. Because this is another thing that happened over time.
Mm-hmm.
right? And it switches,
Right.
right? It's like Agatha Christie
It is.
punch in the face. Oh shit, we're going this one. Now we're on the butler's fucking story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, woo, no, it's the fucking chauffeur kind of thing. It's very interesting, and at least I found it to be so. But I think the style, this is one to watch to see how you can kind of mix those. This really wasn't so much a pivot
Right.
as trying to get to the bottom of some weird shit.
Mm-hmm.
And ended up, being crime, because crimes were committed uh, in this whole thing.
Right. Okay. Blood, Boobs, and Beast.
Yes.
So this, I'm going to say, falls in the category of like fun, but also educational.
Yes. This isn't just for folks who are listening to this thinking, yeah, I want to get into making a documentary. This is for all independent filmmakers who are into horror.
Yes. Yes. And it's all interview based, really.
Yeah.
Right.
Little bits of like footage
from the films themselves
from
that
the
they're
films,
talking about,
or that they were able to film behind the scenes.
Yes.
Or during production. Not a lot.
Right.
Right.
But it follows a very sort of niche kind of horror film.
Mm-hmm.
And not necessarily niche kind of horror film, but the like commercial, marketable in B horrors or indie horrors.
Yeah.
The recipe.
Yes.
Right.
Well, that's the title. That's the recipe.
And why it works.
Yep.
And I just thought that it was done really well. It had a very fun tone to it. And it very much encapsulated like why the people who love these films do love them.
Yeah. Well, and it's the one guy.
Yeah.
He's made these films. So we're following him, but there's all the people who love these movies and the people who are in these movies, people in his production company, which is small.
Yes.
Right. But it was, he is just such a fun dude. And that's one of the things is this is really a documentary on the passion.
Yes.
It's not, you want to make horror movies and indie film, and this is how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Although it is kind of, it does have some poignant lessons to it. But it is just a fun as fuck watch. And you just can't help but get caught in his energy and all the people he's with, which is respectful.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But it does give you a lot of information.
Mm-hmm.
And you come away knowing not just about him, but this whole genre niche.
Yeah.
In it. And you kind of just like, open the shutters a little bit more for us.
But it's also, I love filmmaking based documentaries. And we haven't talked about a lot in this episode, but there are tons and tons of filmmaking based documentaries.
Yeah. And I'm just going to say before we start getting into wrap up and stuff, I am not going to put this big ass long list in the notes. It fucks up how they show up everywhere. So the ones that we mention, listen, but I'm just going to say, if you want to do this, note the ones that we're talking about or have talked about, and then just go out there and look and see some stuff and decide for yourself, good, bad, whatever. I would avoid the Michael Moore documentaries as much as possible, though. Don't waste your time.
Right.
So just some quick things, like there's another series, Our Universe. It's just very science presented in an entertainment format, leveled down to the every person, like families and stuff. I tend to watch a lot of scientific stuff that is, I would call it high end. If you don't have like a rudimentary understanding of the precepts of physics, a lot of stuff I watch, nobody's going to be fucking interested in.
Attack on Pearl Harbor Minute by Minute.
Yes. This one is like the first, it is the first documentary on Pearl Harbor that is minute by minute.
Right.
And we had Lily watch this as part of her, homeschooling history. And we talked about it and the events and stuff. This is magnificent.
It's excellent.
Because it is beginning to end. And it's not jumping around. right?
No.
And they're talking about like in minute 12, this is, what is going on here, 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 and here. Move on to the next,
Yeah. And not only that, but why? Like,
Yes. Yes.
how did we get here
Yep.
to this point? It's an excellent educational documentary.
Evil Genius is a good format. And this is the one, it's about this crazy ass woman. And folks, you might remember the news. This is a while back where a guy robbed a bank and he was caught outside and he was wearing this big collar around his neck.
Mm-hmm.
And he was telling the police it's got explosives in it. And it did.
Yeah.
And then there was this like big wild goose chase. He ended up dying. The collar ended up exploding. There's this like goose chase to get it deactivated and stuff. The woman behind all this was, again, batshit fucking crazy and kind of tragic in how she descended into that, what put her there. But it's that one's another very good one. Trainwreck, Woodstock 99. The name says it all. This documentary is a train wreck. It's a standard timeline presentation with eyewitness interviews, sort of people giving input. Not captivating.
No.
Not interesting. I did not care for that. Meltdown 3 Mile Island. Very news style delivery for this.
It was very news style delivery, but what I really liked about Meltdown 3 Mile Island was until I had seen that, and maybe this is on me, or maybe it's on the American education system, or maybe it's on the cover up that happened, but I had no fucking clue that happened.
Oh, I know. There's a lot of things that, you didn't know about 3 Mile Island. You didn't know about Love Canal.
Right.
With all the chemical, poisonous shit being dumped in there. And yeah, that's an indictment of how shit's not, taught in favor of moments of history that actually don't do anything for us.
Right.
Yeah. I think the worst parts of history are the most important things.
I think they are.
Because that's what we need to know about so that we can like stop doing it. I don't think spending weeks on the fucking New Deal ever did anything for me as an educational standpoint. I don't even know if they teach it anymore.
I don't know what that is.
The New Deal?
Yeah.
Okay, we're not going to get
into it. Okay.
So anyway, yeah, there's just, I do want to talk about this one, please. And then we'll switch off. Dear America, Letters Home from Vietnam.
Okay.
I saw this, late 80s. This had me in fucking tears. And I'm not that kind of person. I cry at things when it's like emotionally stirring. This, from beginning to end, they started reading this first letter. So what this documentary is about, it's about the Vietnam War. And the documentary is narrated solely by letters from soldiers who didn't make it back. Letters that they had retrieved from their family members and stuff. And they had Hollywood celebrities reading them. And all of them had pictures. Because almost everyone in Vietnam sent pictures home.
Right.
To their families. And the ones they didn't send home made it home when they got killed. Because, they're not going to send pictures that would scare their families.
Mm-hmm.
Them sitting on top of stuff. Most of it's, sitting on a tank or, cupping a mortar shell and, just stuff. It's the only one of its kind. And I don't know where to find it. But folks, if you find Dear America, Letters Home from Vietnam, watch this just to fucking watch it. Because it is beautiful. Just beautiful. But also, this is, there's not even like a format to this.
No.
Or like a narration point you can give. It's just gorgeous. If you can replicate something like this and have that kind of meaning, fucking go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it. So anyway, that's it. Just real quick names while you're writing them down, folks. The Way Down, Grizzly Man. This is the Zodiac speaking.
Devil's Pass.
Devil's Pass. John Wayne Gacy tape. What do we got down here? The Keepers, Escaping Twin Flames.
The Man with 1,000 Kids.
MH370.
The Staircase.
King of Kong.
The Devil Next Door.
Central Park 5.
Mm-hmm.
Super Size Me, everyone should probably have heard about that.
Don't watch it though.
No. Well, that's one where it's very much like a Michael Moore thing. Informationally, it's not accurate.
No.
Okay. But yeah, anyway, good stuff.
All right. Well,
so
with that,
let's talk about real quick making a documentary. What do you need to do? You need to have your story. You got to figure it out. In there, figure out how you're going to narrate it. What's the narrative style going to be? Because that's going to determine in some aspects how you're going to shoot. Like I'd mentioned, I think it's a good idea to probably narrate as you're going. If you know that your sound, your voice isn't going to, that, the audio isn't going to make it into the documentary because you can do voiceover.
Sure.
Right. But it's a good way to make notes as you're making it.
Yes.
Right. Learn how to edit, figure out your style. But with all that, equipment, you want to make this the best that you can. My number one thing is sound. We've talked about this for everything. Sound makes or breaks a film. So if you can afford a boom mic, even an inexpensive one, do it. But then you need people because you can't film and control the boom.
Yeah.
Does the boom mic need to be connected into your phone? Yes. But if you can afford a separate recorder, which, folks, if you have an iPad, guess what? You can get Logic for the iPad. And your iPad is now a sound recording device, right? You can plug a boom mic into that. Lapel mics. All of our mics, well, they were a little pricey, but now all of ours are still wired. So we don't have wireless miking. I don't know how I feel about that yet. But we do have one of our lav mics is like I think it's $25-$30.
Right.
Yeah, it was just super cheap. It was like
and it sounds good.
Yeah, and it sounds good. The other ones are better. The high-end Rode ones are a little better. But it would do the trick easily. We're doing Shure SMB7s. That's what we're talking into.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I started podcasting for a job years and years ago, back in 2014. And I was using the old Shure SM58. The old reliable. That fucker's been like on stage for as long as I've been alive.
Well, and before that, you were using that Bluetooth mic, what was it, the Snowball?
Oh, the Snowball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, it was before the podcasting that I got that, and then I started using that. But I got that because I was initially doing instructional videos.
Oh, sure.
And I was just using, it was a Mac laptop, and I was just using the microphone on that for the videos. It was just voiceover shit. And then I got that for that, and then used it for the podcasts, for the business and stuff.
I recorded an audiobook on that Snowball.
Was it the Snowball?
It was the Snowball.
It was. Yeah. It worked.
It did.
So you can get inexpensive stuff. I highly recommend it. And Rode makes these really great
shotgun mics
that fit on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
They're super tiny. They're good up to I wouldn't go more than 5 feet with them. But I mean, that's what you need when you're interviewing, right? So try to get some sort of sound setup, something hooked to your phone. Or if you got a little camera, something. If you want to do it separate and you have an iPad or you know somebody with an iPad, it's $50 for Logic for iPad. You could even get Final Cut for iPad.
Yeah.
You can still record audio in it. It's not as, I prefer using Logic to record audio.
Sure.
Right. Or to do the audio work before putting it in to Final Cut. But anyway, and then if you're not a Mac person, obviously there's other shit out there. That is really it.
Yeah.
You can, if you want to do interviews and you're going to have people on camera, get a ring light. Folks, you can find this stuff for under $50. You can find this shit for under $30. They don't have to be super, a light is a fucking light.
Yeah.
So buy a $20 ring light that, people use for Instagram and stuff.
Or go to any secondhand store because there are always tons of ring lights there.
God, yes. Make sure they work.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: you spend $20 on a ring light, and you shoot a few things, and it goes out. Okay, that's sort of like part of the thing.
Yeah.
Right. But for editing software, I mean, it's no different with a documentary than it is with filmmaking. If you're independent making anything, there's free stuff out there. There's low end stuff out there. There's high end stuff out there. Okay. If you're not in the 6-figure range of budget and projecting high 6 figures for return, you don't need the high end shit.
Yeah.
You don't.
If you're not in the 3-figure budget, 3-figure range for budget.
Right. Well, so what I use, right? We're recording this into Logic. Okay. For video, I have Final Cut Pro, but I also have DaVinci, and I have Avid, which I've never used. It just came with the bundle with our Scarlett and stuff.
Sure.
So yeah, you can do this super cheap. And here's the best part: you have GarageBand, like for Mac and iPhone.
Comes free.
It comes free. You can edit on your iPhone. Sucks.
Yeah.
But guess what? You can also put your fucking iPhone nowadays. You can attach a Bluetooth keyboard to it and plug in a monitor.
Right.
Right. So you're not doing that. That's it, folks. That's all the like making of advice. Sound. If you're going to do interviews, get some kind of light, right, to put on the person to make them stand out. And that's it. The rest is up to you. And the rest you can literally learn how to make a documentary by watching ones that you think are good or bad.
Right. And one's in the same vein of what yours is.
Right. And then find something that can, like, Tiger King or Pez or the Chicken People, or Pez Outlaw or the Chicken People. I'd never crossed my fucking mind if I had 1,000,000 years to ponder shit, those two things would never come up. So, go with what we've given you, or just scroll through, find something that's kind of outside of your thing, sparks interest, watch it, because then you can see right from the beginning, from the synopsis to the whole thing, if it's good. Okay, it caught me. So how do I catch people who aren't into this very like weird little thing that I'm doing?
Analyze. What is it about this?
Yeah. I will say, with any documentary, please think of everything as investigative.
Yes.
You have to investigate, get the information. The little example I was going to give, we have a guy here in town that we call Bridge Guy. And by we, I mean Danny and I.
I'm sure that everyone else in town knows his name, but we don't.
Well, I don't, or if they even call him Bridge Guy. But anyways, this guy that we've seen, older man, big, long beard, and we drive through town because, we work from home and sometimes got to run an errand and stuff. So all times during the day, the warmer weather and stuff, he's like sitting on the bridge or standing there leaning.
Yeah. This town is situated on a river and there's one bridge.
Yeah, that's the one
that goes over the river. That's dead center of town. It's not long.
No.
Right.
I mean, there's 1,000 people here.
Yeah.
And that's like spread out. It's not the core.
Yeah. And this river is maybe, 60 to 100 feet across. It's not huge.
No. Big enough for proper bridge.
Right.
And there's a small dam. Anyway, he's there all the time. Or was. I haven't seen him lately.
I have.
And I'll tell you, but anyway, really?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about it, because I thought, you know what? I'd like to make a documentary on him.
Right.
And maybe it'll be nothing, but it's just, he waves, and we wave at him, he waves back, and you can't like stop and talk to him because it's a bridge.
Yeah.
And, anyway, I feel like there's got to be something there. I don't know what.
Well, maybe one day we'll stop and talk to him.
Yeah. So
see what his deal is.
Who's going to be interested in that? I don't care. But I thought, as soon as I talk about making a documentary, I don't fucking see him anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm like, is something wrong with him? Has something happened?
I saw him the other day.
Okay.
He's still kicking.
All right. I feel better.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the thing. I don't know if anyone besides you or I'll give two shits, or even if you'll give two shits about it, if I did it.
I probably will.
But maybe someone will. But it interests me enough that I think, and that's what I would go for. Right. So that's, do the same, folks. Do the same. Find your thing. start this over, go back through the precepts of what you need to write down, and make something. You might entertain people, you might inform people, you might bring people who would have otherwise never come into whatever it is you're going on about.
Right.
But they might enjoy it. I mean, there's documentaries on people who do crocheting and sewing and baking and cooking and stuff. And we're not talking like big chefs and Martha Stewart and all that, maybe bullshit. We're talking about people who, they just do this thing and hardly anybody's fucking heard of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really the person, but it's the subject. Crocheting.
Yeah.
It's become huge.
Oh, I know.
I know it's been big, but it's like really becoming mainstream. All these people popping out that, have been crocheting for years and years and years. It's therapy. We know someone who does it for therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good to see it happen more, so maybe that one thing that you're like, no one's going to care.
There's probably a whole bunch of people who do.
Yeah. Just got to find them. You got to let them know about it.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, sweet. And then, boom.
Well, yeah, that's the other part of, making a documentary as an independent filmmaker is you got to find your audience so you can market it to them.
I mean,
once you've done all the work of putting it together, editing it, polishing and finishing it. But marketing is kind of its own thing.
Well, that's why we have YouTube.
Yes.
Because at least it's somewhere to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay.
With that.
B-siders.
Yes. Go check out our website.
lordsofmisrulproductions.com.
Everything's up there. We mentioned it earlier. We don't need to go through it all again.
Nope. Send us an email.
Mm-hmm.
Send us, if you want to make a documentary. Mm-hmm. Or if you've made one, guess what?
We want to watch it.
We want to watch it and we want to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you're a director, writer, producer, if you're an actor, if you're a grip, if you're the coffee bitch, whatever your build role is,
we would love to chat with you
in a film. We're here to talk to you.
Mm-hmm. Anywho's.
Oh, and yes, Kyle Hester, actor guy. Check him out on YouTube. Check out his Tent City documentary about the homeless tent population during the pandemic. Worth seeing. And he put this all together by pulling pieces out of his daily walk videos with no intention of ever doing a documentary. And they just realized, shit, I got some stuff here. And then added some voiceover stuff. But he's also, showing how you can make a doc. He's got these, he used to do this thing called Scary Stories or Scary Campfire Stories, but he switched that one off and he's kind of switched it into documentaries on like horror stories, folk stories,
sure,
or things that, the story of so-and-so in Louisiana or New Orleans, ghosts and things like that. There's a perfect example of how you can just sit down and do it. Watch his videos and you'll see his work area. You'll see everything. Folks,
good learning place.
It's a good learning place. And you'll see that it is all homegrown. And, most indie filmmakers don't have a separate detached studio.
Right.
Right? They got a room in the house or in a corner and they make it work. Okay.
Well, B-siders. Until next time, this is Danny.
And this is Jim.
We'll catch you later.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.